Good morning, I hope you're well. In this episode, I'm actually just venturing down from the hotel, just sort of gone out about an hour early or so, to photograph a facade, a face of a building. And I want to talk about the extender, the 1.4 extender in this episode, and how it can benefit you and help you, especially in wide European roads, when you're photographing faces of buildings. So let's do it. It's going to be quite a quick pace video today. Got about an hour or so spare before the group wake up.
For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is James Kerwin, and this is me. I'm an architecture and interior photographer from the UK that is now based in Istanbul. I love shooting heritage, abandoned places, relics, ruins, hidden gems and ghost towns, as well as off the beaten path locations all around the world. You can catch my content weekly, well, when life doesn't take over. So why don't you join me for the ride by subscribing, and you can also check out my website in the description below.
There's a guy in a car here. He's just parked in front of the building. I wonder if I can just get him to roll back so I can photograph the face of it. Let me just have a quick chat with him. See if he can do this. Hang on. Excuse me. Would you mind just rolling the car back a little bit? I was just about to photograph the face of that building. Sorry. Thank you. The guy just pulled up in a car and I just saw him doing it, and I'm photographing the facade, the face of the building just here with a 35mm because he's pulled in. I thought, best to ask him and then he can do. Perfect. And the facade is beautiful. I'm going to do it from across the street, wide open street like so, face of the building across here, and I want to try and photograph it using that extender. Let's do it. So first things first, get set up. Now, I've been here once before, maybe 18 months or so ago. It's a really, really cool facade, the window in here. It's actually a doctor's surgery now, I believe. Historical building that I suppose will get renovated at some point. Now, it's a little bit loud. I'm on the main road, and of course, that gives some challenges in terms of the actual photography. The main one being that we can only get certain vantage points at certain times of the day. So essentially, the fact that I just caught that guy in the car is perfect, because that means that I've got the space free. There's also a busy road in front with cars going underneath my shooting position. And the other challenge is focal length. Now, I came here before with a 24mm tilt shift lens, and I know that what I had to do with the 24mm is I had to go a little bit too close in the middle of the road to shift up, and I couldn't then reach some of the top of the window. I then put on the 17, and the issue with the 17 was it was super wide, and I was having to crop the image a large amount to get the final result, and that's not something I wanted to do. So with all that in mind, what I'm going to actually use is the extender. Now, how it goes on when you've got something like the R5 is you put on the extension ring first, then the adapter, so it's that way round and in combination, and of course finally the tilt shift lens here then goes onto the front of that extender. And that has to be in that order, because otherwise it won't work. Now, it was just the experience that told me, essentially, that I needed that focal length. And that focal length might still not necessarily be perfect. But because we're at this distance, I can actually shift all the way across here. Now, because of the distance involved here, it's going to make for a much better shot than my original. If I can time it well, if I can time it when the cars and there's a gap in the traffic, essentially what's going to happen is it's going to give me a clear bit of road too. I've got more building in, more resolution using the R5, and I've literally fitted in perfectly the part of the building that I wish to photograph. Now, we could do this a couple of ways. We could do it where we're just using this section of the building in portrait orientation, or we could use landscape orientation to actually kind of get a bit more of the building in and put that to the right hand side. So a kind of unusual composition. Now, with this first particular one, what I'm going to look to do is, we could do it a couple of ways. We can look to get people maybe walking through in the individual sections in the bottom, but at the moment we've got a nice clear road, and I'm going to go for a nice clean shot, just basically through the centre of the shot, and ISO's nice and low, nice clean shot, focusing on the face of the building. Now, the extender's given me that 0.4 times reach. So essentially what that's allowing me to do is literally pull my lens all the way to the face of that building with a nicer, more thought out composition. I've done that now with people in too. It's about timing. What do you want in the image? What do we want to include? So I've done one just face on. Now of course that might not necessarily work the best. What we could look to do is probably flip this. What we can look to do and do it the proper way is rotate the lens on its barrel here, flip into portrait orientation, and when we do it this way round and we actually shift the lens now more to the top, we're actually going to get the better composition, the one that I was after. There's a little spire or a little kind of peaked roof on the top of this, and then there's the road, and then there's this window. That is the composition that I was originally thinking of all the way back 18 months ago. Something a little bit different. It's just a case, again, of waiting patiently for the traffic to move. I've just got to make sure I shift up enough, make sure that my window is the clear, visible thing here in the frame. Going to do urban style photography, the earlier you can get out, the better it is. Of course, it's rush hour. You can see there people are looking to park. They're kind of coming down the high street at quite a fast pace, and then what they're doing is they're essentially there's an empty car parking space here where I got that guy to move back. So of course eventually somebody's going to want to pull into there, and as long as there's a little gap, it's absolutely fine. Let me go and speak to her and just tell her she can move into it. I just need a little bit of space to basically be able to pull things back and forth. Let me just have a quick chat with her. You okay? You can. It's okay. You can go in there. It's just that I needed a little slim bit. I had a tripod. That was all. But if you can want to get into there, it's okay.
I usually park here, but obviously that's my morning.
you're So. Maybe a little bit, about that far away, like there. Nearly. The back needs to come in. I didn't record it, so don't worry. Yeah. Have a bit of a laugh with her because she's doing some uninspiring parking. Back and forth a few times. I said to her for a laugh, it's a shame I didn't record it for TikTok or something, because it's been one of those moments, you know. Pretty funny. The key point here is, though, of course, that people are coming and going, and there's a flow of people, and it's early in the morning, and it's just going to keep happening. So I need to crack on, get these shots. Now, I'm pretty happy with what I just captured, actually. The actual face of the building, the right height, straight on, portrait orientation. And the next one, what I want to do is I want to try and shuffle across. The next one, what I want to do is shuffle across, so I can actually get more of the left-hand side of the building and then compose the window on the right-hand side. I think that'll work really well as well. Now for this one, I've got to be really careful, of course, because there is going to be somebody swinging into this space, I'm sure, any given moment, and it's getting busier. I can tell the traffic is getting much, much busier. So what I'm going to do is just move down just a little bit further down here. I'm actually just going to frame up so that I can put it in landscape orientation and push the lens slightly right. And that extender, of course, is going to help me to cover the face of the building a little bit more. So let's do that. It's not easy, actually. So where I've just positioned myself now, you can see it's a lot better in terms of kind of where I am and where I'm positioned. And that's going to give me a little bit more safety if someone quickly swings into this space, especially forwards, which is what that lady tried to do. A little fun fact for you about the little window there that I'm using as a visual cue to kind of put it in the centre of the frame. Those windows are called the eyes, those kind of lookout points from the top of the roof. In Cebu, in the city of Cebu, in the centre of Romania in Transylvania, They are covering the city. They're basically like places where people could look out. They thought people were, you know, to spy on people coming into the city, invaders, back in the Dark Ages. And basically, back in the Dark Ages, but basically in Cebu, there's like absolutely everywhere. When the buildings were built, they were all manufactured in this way. And this particular one here in Brasov has the same feature. Now I'm using it to basically position myself in the middle of the frame. It's a really nice way of being able to get that building exactly where I want it. Now I want a little bit more wiggle room. I've kind of filled my frame quite nicely, but I'm going to want a little bit of path and both the chimney stacks in this frame. So I'm going to come back a tiny fraction. Not much. Shift the lens up just a fraction more. That's about just waiting for some a gap in the traffic. Try and nail that final result. Patience. Architecture photography is always patience. In these urban environments, it's always challenging. You've got to like really have your wits about you all the time. There's a lot going on. It's exactly the case this morning, to be honest with you. I'm actually just going to pull my camera's position back to where I was, but this time I'm going to come to the edge of the car park. So this, of course, is the riskiest shot that I've done. I want a little bit more coverage in my frame. I want to fill it a little bit more, push the frame right, you know, the actual building right to the edges of the frame. I'm just going to go get my camera gear. I've left it over there. Of course, I'm trying to work at pace. I don't want somebody else to quickly swing in this car park and kind of cause me more grief, so that's what I'm looking to do. Now there's nobody here at the minute. If I work really fast, flip this around again, get that back into position, I can basically just quickly go up on there. We can nail this one. That's the same thing, settings haven't changed throughout here. I've had my settings locked down. Now suddenly there's cars. I've filled the frame a little bit more. I've noticed in the back of my camera that my first composition, I was a little bit off. I was kind of rushing it. I think the lady came into view and she was trying to park. So I'm just going to redo this. I'm quite happy with it. Nice early morning's work, of course, aided by the extender. Got any comments, leave them below, and until next time, I'll see you very, very soon. By the way, if you're in the market for a new tripod, I've got a link down in the description below, an affiliate link, of course, but that's also going to give you site-wide 17% off on top of any discounts they're additionally doing. And that includes filters, bags, accessories, and so on. It's something that I've negotiated for you guys. So please go down below and check those links out. And if you're interested in a tripod, of course, I'll get a little kickback on that too. I help support the channel. That's pretty much me. Until next time, I'll see you all very soon.